So let me just reiterate. One, we are under a state of emergency. Second of all, if you haven't gotten to where you want to get to by midnight tonight, stay where you are. And third, if you need help, call for it. We will get somebody to help you between local resources and state resources. And finally, let's help our neighbors and let's look out for one another, because that's what we do best as Virginians. I appreciate everybody's attention, and I'm happy to take a few questions if anybody has any from our friends in the back. Yeah, hi, Dave. Yeah, so I'm going to start with the Guard, and so we have more guardsmen that are being called up. We're leaving one of our Guard deployments in Southwest Virginia, and then we are now deploying guardsmen into Lynchburg in order to take care of the valley. But then we will have guardsmen deployed into the greater Richmond area, onto the Eastern Shore, into Hampton Roads, and then also in Southside and Emporia. And that puts guardsmen with vehicles, both Humvees and larger transport vehicles that have the great capacity of getting anywhere, anytime, in place. They not only have all of the transportation capability, but they also have debris removal capability. So that's our Guard. And I just want to thank our Virginia National Guard team. General, thank you for your great attention here. They bring not only extraordinary capabilities, but confidence. We know that to everyone. From a state police standpoint, all of our state police now are on the 24-hour shift notice. That means everybody's working. And we, in addition to bringing everybody on, are moving some resources into the Hampton Roads and Greater Richmond area, which is where we think the heaviest snow is going to happen. And those areas tend to not get heavy snow, and so they are needing some extra resource. And then from a VDOT standpoint, we have surged in a 40% increase in the Hampton Roads area, particularly with trucks and plows, just given the fact that we do expect that area to be most impacted. I want to say that we've had other states very generously offer to support us during this period, and we're staying in contact with them in case we need even more. And I particularly want to thank Governor Kemp in Georgia. South Carolina and North Carolina are expecting to see the same storm, as is Tennessee. And what happens in these circumstances is states help states. And I just want to thank everybody for being willing to do that. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, thank you. So we did make a formal request for an accelerated declaration of emergency from the federal government. They have received that. I have spoken to the new FEMA administrator. I've spoken to Secretary Noem. I've actually spoken to the White House Chief of Staff, and they are processing that request for an accelerated emergency declaration, and they are supportive. There is a certain amount of damage assessment that needs to be submitted along with that, and the teams are working hard on that. Of the road closures that I discussed, so many of those roads are still underwater, and therefore the assessment has to wait until the water recedes. And so individual home damage, of course public facility damage, and road damage we are assessing now. I was hoping to get all that done this week. This snowstorm is going to interrupt that process, and so we've got people moving from damage assessment now to snow duty, and we'll pick that up as soon as we can. I have to say the response from the Trump administration has been extraordinarily cooperative, and I know we'll get that done. It's just a matter of getting through this storm right now. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So there are a lot of Virginians also concerned about losing their jobs under the federal cuts. What is your message to them, and have you spoken with the White House about that?
Yeah, so let me just back up. If I can I come back to that in a minute? I know there's a lot of anxiety there, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Anything else about the storm? Yes, sir.
I was going to say that for the Attorney General, I know you probably can't get into specifics regarding the gouging cases, but can you at least generalize what sort of items that you're dealing with in these cases and just how much of an increase we're seeing?
Well, I think it is primarily water, ice, food, generators, battery, home repair materials, heating oil, tree removal services. Those are the type of items that primarily in the past, when we have a major hurricane or weather event, those are the type of items that overwhelmingly come through our office.
Yeah. And I would just add, when we are in a state of emergency like this, it is a time to help one another, not pursue extraordinary profit. And let's go to work and help one another. And the Attorney General is standing ready in order to make sure that legally people don't violate this. But I'm just making an absolute call that Virginians helping Virginians means not to undertake price gouging at a moment when people need supplies and they need help, and at a time we should be offering it to them. So, great. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. So we've been working with local government to make sure that the homeless shelters are, one, open, and of course advertised, and we're just checking now on backup power supplies. We've pre-positioned substantial supplies of bottled water and provisions, so meals, into Richmond. From Richmond, we can get quickly down to Hampton Roads, and we've left very large provisions in Southwest. So I think it's a really important comment, and the local government has been doing a very good job of communicating to folks that may be homeless. This is where the shelters are. Please come. And that's really, really important. So thank you. Yes?
Again, on topic, does the state have any adherence or personnel at the water treatment plant in Richmond? Again, like in the last one, just because of what happened in January?
Yeah, thank you. So we've been in our Office of Drinking Water out of the state, has not only been in touch consistently, almost hourly, with the water treatment facility here in Richmond, but all of the water utilities and municipal resources across the state. We still have, I think 15 or more areas in Southwest Virginia that are under a drinking water advisory left over from the weekend floods. And so that's why we've got big water provisions in those areas, but we also are working to support to make sure that if there are challenges, we can't go fix their water system for them, but we can quickly move in with power resources and expertise, and of course provisions for people that may not have water. When you go through the hierarchy of issues in an emergency response, and in particularly a storm like this, number one is to prepare to make sure that lives aren't endangered, and that's road closure, that's road treatment, plow services to get the routes open. It's to make sure that telecommunications is up as reliably as possible and as fast, to make sure that power stays on or is recovered as quickly as we can. Once we get through that, then we make sure that we've got provisions of water and food, and also warm, safe places for people to go if they don't have it themselves. This is an all-hands moment to make sure that we're hitting all of those areas. And again, the collaboration from local leadership has been spectacular as we prepare for this. And then my last request for everyone is just pray that this storm blows out. We prayed over it this morning. Lord, move this storm out, have it drop no snow, and then we get to talk about the fact that we over-prepared, and that was the worst thing that happened this week. So, any more? Yeah, I'll come back. So, first of all, broadly speaking, the anxiety from many Virginians over the concerns about their employment with the federal government is real. And I've spoken to lots of people, and I think we first need to recognize that this process that the federal government is going through is one that is needed because of the inefficiency and bloat of the federal government. And second of all, the American voters, in fact, supported it and continue to. But with that said, this isn't about the workers, who I know are really, really, really scared. this is about stepping back and making sure that tax dollars are being appropriately managed and deployed. And yet that is not any way to help people deal with the real concerns and anxiety that they have. And therefore, what we are doing at the state level is preparing to provide as much support as we possibly can for folks that may, in fact, find their employment disrupted and may be in a position where they're looking for something else. And I have to say that this workforce, which is talented and deep and experienced, is part of Virginia. And so we want to make sure that first they know that we understand, and second of all, we're here to help them. There's lots of opportunities in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and those opportunities can be met by so many of these people. And first and foremost, I just want them to know that we will have the ability to support them through any job dislocation. And then finally, I do believe that it is a real fear that people have about losing their jobs. I would ask the media to not inflame it. There is a spending pause and review that has been going on to make sure that what's being spent is being spent on things that are productive and in line with the administration's priorities. Many of those have been conducted and released. Many are ongoing. And so I would also ask the media to not inflame these concerns with concerns around areas that really aren't substantial. There's been a number of folks who have come out and unfortunately scared people unnecessarily. And that I do not want to diminish the anxiety and the concerns that I know so many Virginians have. But I also don't want to unnecessarily concern people who are worried about their medical benefits if they're part of our veteran community, which are not going to be interrupted. We don't need to concern people with those types of issues. And so I would just ask everyone to let's work with facts. Let's work with circumstances that I know we can support people with. And let's recognize that Virginians are concerned, and that as governor, I want to be there to support them and help them through this process.
Thank you all so much. Governor's got to go. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you.